Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to BRAP. It is Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time here in the United States of the Americas. I could use some Starbucks, but look, we got a great show tonight. We have Game Logic here with us. What's up, Game Logic?
Not much, man. Same old, same old.
And then we have returning guests. We have Agent Deli with us. What's up, Deli?
Yeah, what's up, Brep? Also, Game Logic. It's nice to be able to talk to you again. Hello, hello.
Always, man.
And of course, Brap. It's always nice to be here. Really appreciate you inviting me on.
Yeah, we're repping the location. I won't say where we're located, but we are repping the location as gamers. So we're all fairly close to one another. I'll just leave it at that. But anyhow, big shout out to everyone in the live chat. What's up, everyone? Hello, live chat. Hello. Great to see everyone this evening. Please do me a favor, hit the like button. If you're new to the show, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you're alerted when we go live. I'm actually going to drop a link here in the live chat. Please let everyone know that we are live. So I got this week's been kind of an interesting week. I went on Twitter and I talked about something that I'm doing as a consumer that many consumers do with different consumer products, and people got angry. So we'll talk about that. And then there's some rumors surrounding the PlayStation showcase that apparently is happening latter part of this month or early June. And there's some games that are rumored to be shown or going to be shown at this particular event. Games that we've talked about here on this show previously. But before we get into those topics, so I do want to talk about games that we're playing. We'll actually talk about Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, because that's coming out in a little bit less than 48 hours on this Friday, May the 12th. So it's I've read some of the previews of Tears of the Kingdom, and a lot of the previews have been very positive. I wouldn't surprise me if this game is in the conversation end of this year as one of the better games that was released 2023. So, but I do want to talk about what everyone's playing. And actually, before we went live, Deli had posted some screenshots of Horizon Forbidden West, the Burning Shores DLC. And I got to say, Deli, the screenshots that you took that you put.
To clarify, it's not Burning Shores.
Oh, it's not Burning Shores.
Standard game. No, I haven't got to buy it or play it yet. So I actually haven't finished the main game yet. So I'm trying to finish the main game and then hit the DLC.
Gotcha. Okay. So so you're playing Horizon Forbidden West right now then. Okay. And so how are you enjoying that game, Deli?
I had 14 hours on the game since I last played it. And I think I probably did like 2 or 3 story missions. There's just a lot of side content. There's just a lot of activities and cool stuff to do. And it's really great and it's really fun. I'm just having story-wise, I think I'm kind of a little lost on the story. Not lost, but I'm a little disinterested. I think that's the right word. Disinterested, unmotivated. Because it kind of was like moving fast, and then I think it slowed down, and then moved fast again, and then slowed down. And they're introducing a lot of concepts and characters that are wonderful and fantastic, but they don't really follow up with them, at least in the main story, right? I haven't finished all the side content yet. There's like 47 or 50 some side missions and side content like bundled together, right? So there's still there's like double the side content as there is the main mission content. So I'm sure that maybe things will wrap up and do stuff there. But as for the main story, Angela Bassett's Regala, supposed to be like this feared warrior. I've seen her one time, so I'm a little kind of questioning whether or not I should be worried about her, or should be worried about her like rebels, or should be worried about her cause. And I'm pretty close. I looked at the mission list, and I'm like 3 story missions from finishing the game. So I'm kind of like wondering where she comes in, but we'll see how that goes, because we met her at the beginning of the game, and then we did not see her again. We saw her again middle of the game for a brief second. We didn't actually fight her or even talk to her. And then I haven't seen her yet, and I'm at the end of the game. I'm near the end of the game, so I don't know. A little disinterested. I think the sci-fi plot is fine. I just think all the characters are kind of boring, which is fine. I think that's a-okay. You know, you're gonna have characters that are boring. You're gonna have characters that are not really lively, and that's okay to a what's it called, um, to a story, because that's a pretty realistic depiction, right? Not everybody you're gonna meet in day to day life is gonna be the most upbeat, funny, quirky person on planet Earth. But I think that it's just abundantly kind of long, drawn out, and kind of boring right now. Um, so I'm just kind of trying to enjoy the side content and get through the main story, and then of course hit Burning Shores, which I've heard a lot of raving reviews about. So yeah, excited about that. And then I'm playing Redfall, so I just hopped on today to play some. I'm in the second area of the game. There's a second map that nobody's told me about, and nobody even in the reviews even told me about the second map. So I didn't see any gameplay or anything like that in most of the reviews that I saw or read. So I was pleasantly surprised that there's a second map. And yeah, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2's Season 3 Reloaded just came out. So I'll be diving into that tonight.
Nice. Now, I agree with you on your points about some of the characters in Horizon Forbidden West. They're so many of them are not very lively characters. Some of the dialogue.
Yeah, it's the end of the world, so I don't
Yeah.
expect them to be like ha ha ha. But you know, it doesn't kill to at least have a little fun. You know, I feel like there's just a lot of characters that are just long, drawn out exposition, which is
Mhm.
again very important for a story. But again, I'm at the end of the story, so I don't feel like I need to meet those characters anymore.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting, like, because in the beginning, that game seems to like just hit pretty quickly. Like it really, gets you, like, kind of draws you into the game, and then it kind of like there's, and I'm experiencing, I think what you described is kind of that lull in between, the way the game starts and then kind of the middle part of the game, and as you're getting towards the latter part, are you finding the game's picking up now? I don't know if you said that. I may have missed that.
Kind of.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, in like a weird way. I don't think the story's picking up any because I'm still like on this weird fetch quest, which is fine because that's,
Yeah.
the hero's journey for Aloy at the moment right now. Obviously this game feels like a lot of setup for the third game, at least for me, anyways. Some of the things.
Yeah,
I'm
and why
seeing
is that
like
a
lot
news
of
story,
lore,
by
a
the
lot
way?
of world building.
Why is that a news story? I see a couple of news outlets like, "Oh, Horizon 3 confirmed." I'm like, "Yeah, if you play the game, I mean, you like you."
Yeah, you kind of see it.
Yeah.
There's still a lot to the world that is being brought up.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of exposition that's being given. And like I said, like I'm in the third act. I'm assuming I'm in the third act of the game. I don't know. The mission list tells me I'm in the third act of the game.
Yeah.
And I just met two new characters and a whole new tribe. And I'm like, I feel like it's a little late in the story to introduce this many characters, don't you think?
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know where it's going, but a lot of the setup is great and it's fun,
Mhm.
and I can kind of see the foundation that's being brought up, and I respect it. Just because I don't like it or I don't understand it or it's not really my preference doesn't mean that it lacks depth. So there's a lot of nuance writing and there's a lot of good stuff about the game. It's just it's not really speaking to me that much. So yeah, that's just obviously personal opinion, personal gripe.
Yeah, and I will say once you get to Burning Shores actually the pacing is faster in that game. Like you just kind of jump into the action and it more or less doesn't really stop compared to, but it's also DLC. So I mean, like my expectation of DLC.
It needs to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it needs to pick your interest up quickly.
Yeah.
'Cause what are they charging for the DLC? $20?
Yeah,
If they're
$20.
charging, like,
Yeah.
20 yeah, if they're charging $20 for the game, and let's say, I don't know, it's a 5-hour experience. I don't know. I'm just throwing out a random number, right? So for 5 hours, they need to be able to do that because you can't lay exposition and world build on a DLC that you're charging $20 for 5 hours and then be like, well, nothing happened. And it's like, now that does genuinely feel like it's cut content from the game, right?
Mhm.
And then that's kind of like that's what you need for the DLC. Like you need it to be content that you're like, yes, this supports the story. Like it should be like a strut. It should be like like a support beam and less like of oh yeah, this is an add-on. Like, yeah, I can, this is not that important, or yeah, this is stuff that they just tacked onto the story or whatever. So yeah, it should be able to stand by itself, and then of course be able to live in the world. So yeah, I'm hoping that it's gonna be good. Again, I heard raving reviews, so when I get around to checking it out, I will be obviously posting more photos. The game is gorgeous,
Yeah, it's a beautiful
and
game. Yeah,
be talking about it on Twitter like I always do.
yeah. I mean the fact that it's a cross generational game, and you're playing on a PlayStation 5, it looks incredible. And then when you get to Burning Shores DLC, like we talked about the atmosphere before we went live, it's even better. I mean, like it is. It's probably the best looking game that I've played so far, probably this generation. Burning Shores is so. I think you're going to enjoy it. I'd love to talk to you about it. Like once you beat Forbidden West and you get to Burning Shore and you finish it, I'd love to talk to you about that because I'm actually enjoying the Burning Shores DLC a little bit more than I did the main game. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm ready. That's high praise. So my expectations are a little raised now.
Yeah, and by the way, Sony, so the Horizon Forbidden West sales have topped 8.4 million units, and the Horizon series has topped 32.7 million units. This is per Sony Interactive Entertainment developer Guerrilla Games. They announced these statistics about the performance of the game, and so that's pretty impressive.
But BRAP it only sold because Sony bundled it with PlayStation 5s.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Sony and by the way, 8.4 million sales when you have all these PlayStations. The WoW is low too. By the way, that's what I've been told at least. That's not good. So, anyhow, Logic.
The bundles the bundles that are more expensive than the standard ones. Oh, God, gotta get them.
Exactly. Logic. So I heard Deli mentioned season 3 Call of Duty. You were streaming Call of Duty the other night. Wait, was that? I assume you were playing season 3, right?
Yeah, I mean, I continue to only play the multiplayer. I don't play DMZ or Warzone or any of the other modes. In fact, I feel a little criminal this season because there are even more multiplayer modes just in the standard kind of multiplayer that I haven't gotten to or haven't played. I know like even like usually I play like I used to play a lot of the Nuketown 24/7 like playlist, and I haven't even delved into that, or hardcore. I haven't been really playing hardcore. But yeah, I was playing season 3 multiplayer last night. The Reloaded dropped this today, as Deli mentioned, which is, I mean, lots of people have their negatives, perspectives, and things to say about Call of Duty, but as far as a game as a service thing, I think it's pretty awesome that there's the regular seasonal content that drops on the date, I guess every 3 months or whatever, and then they always do kind of a mid-season refresh, right, with an additional map, sometimes some additional LTEs and LTMs. So it's pretty awesome. Always gives you a lot to do and plenty to do. So been playing that, and like Deli said, I'll probably jump onto the Reloaded tonight to see just what the new map is. I do like the new maps this season. Well, I like one of the 2 new maps this season. The Lighthouse map, I do actually like. The Blacklight map, I'm not a super huge fan of, and that's because I do a lot of reading when I play Call of Duty, just like reading about all the tactics and keeping up with all the information about the modes and maps. And I haven't done that this season, so there's like a weird nit on that map where certain types of scopes, when you have them attached, do not work on that map, and so rather than raising scope ida scope, it tilts. The weapon will tilt, and then so like I said, I don't know what the code is or what what the rule set is that causes that. So I go into the match and then you raise the weapon and it doesn't scope in, and then I'm like, well, crap, I'm not gonna go digging around in my loadout to try and swap the scope out. So that's a little thing. Although I had a great match playing Domination on that map the other night. So it's I'm up and down on it. I do like some of the verticality where you can get up into some of the rooms and provide some fire from top side. But it is I at least don't like it as much as the Lighthouse map. Um, the other thing I've been playing is Age of Wonders 4. So again, kind of feeling a little criminal because I've played Age of Wonders, at least touched it. I mean, since like Age of Wonders 2, so going back, probably 20 years. Um, but I've never. I think Age of Wonders 2 was the last one that I really spent like a lot of time in. So I bought Age of Wonders 3 a few years ago when it came out, but didn't spend a huge amount of time in it. Uh, got Age of Wonders 4 this week. Age of Wonders 4 sales are pretty good. And again, this is for a, low. This is for like a non AAA, not a huge amount of advertising title, but it has gotten numbers that exceed kind of what it put out in the past. So it gained 250,000 units of sales within like the first week, I think it was, which is just not their historical norm. I think it took Age of Wonders 3 like 2 years to get to 500,000. And the creative director at some point said something. He's like, well, great, we've hit 500,000 sales in 2 years, so now we won't have to, do a Kickstarter for the next one. But it's a pretty neat game. I do like. I'm a big fan of 4X games, turn-based strategy games. What I like about this one is it is not faction-based, faction-oriented. So a lot of these games come in kind of the standard canned. Um, there's 3 factions. They're at war for this. Go out and do the thing. And what I really hate is when they also handcuff you into a story-driven campaign. Because I just like to play Conquer the World mode and just be able to do city building and resource gathering and run my military how I want to. I don't like having these little silly objectives that are popped up I'm able to build one unit, but then all of a sudden I go to the next mission and they say, oh, you don't have access to that unit. I just don't like a lot of those contrivances. So Age of Wonders 4 does have that Conquer the World mode. I think it has some canned scenarios, but for some reason it seems like they don't. Usually when an RTS or a TBS or a 4X game has those canned scenarios, they kind of push those in your face, and you're kind of incentivized to play those first. But the entry UI isn't like that in Age of Wonders. It has, I think, like over a dozen, something like 19 kind of canned races, but you can also create your own race, create your own factions. You have a lot of provenance in the advantages, kind of powers, if you will, that your race will have. And then it has same thing, kind of like over a dozen different maps and environments, as well as allowing you to create your own world builder in the app itself. So it's pretty awesome. I got started playing that, I don't know, a couple of nights ago, and I'm going back and forth between that and Call of Duty.
Nice, yeah. I got to get back to Call of Duty, man. It's been some time, man, and yeah, I need to get back to that. Thank you, Arthur Gonzalez says BRAP has a great radio voice. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah. So is that how you've been playing just those 2 games, Amp?
Yeah, I was playing some other stuff last week, but that's
Okay.
what's been on the docket since late Sunday night.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. See, I've been playing. Yeah. Go ahead, Dilly.
I was gonna say, Game Logic. To answer your question about the black gold with the turning your weapon sideways, any scope or sight that is too large that interferes with your actual night vision, you actually have to turn your weapon and use the infrared light to aim. It's like that in real life, and that's why you do that. So if you actually take your night vision off, you should be able to use the scope as normal.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. I'm probably unlikely to to hit my. I mean, I think it's configured to my J button on a mouse and keyboard. But no, that's good to know. Definitely.
Yeah, well, I mean that's the only code or logic to it. So like obviously, if you can put your sights on it, the bigger the sight, probably chances are that you'll have to turn it. So just neat, factoid, I guess.
No, it's nice. I mean, again, man, like I said, Call of Duty gets slept on so much, and there's so many things about the series that people don't think about and that we skate by often. Like, I mean, I've talked to BRAP about this whole topic of the merger, and I brought up the fact that like it's a massive production pipeline, right? To crank that thing out every year, 3 lead studios, all of them working in syncopation, where one studio is putting out, a brand new full version in a year. You look at the content in Modern Warfare 2, and it's staggering, like the number of modes and gameplay styles that game has. And then you look at what they did with the weapons platform and trees and branches this season, and I was talking to BRAP, and I was putting out on Twitter, and people were like, oh, just go build a COD replacement. I'm like, look at what they
No.
did with the weapons branches and trees. You don't do that from jump. You don't do that unless you've been doing like a game for a decade.
It's a great point.
Right? And you have the capability to engineer that and weave that in. I think a huge thing that people don't get is, because so many people don't play the single player campaign. Play the single player campaign and watch the credits roll, right? And see the massive amount of people. And the one thing that jumped out on me when I completed the Modern Warfare campaign and the Cold War campaign was the number of people involved in the orchestration and music production and audio production of that game. It's just amazing. And when you look at the number of tracks and titles and the full blown score, that's like, it's got a score that's made for it that's like a movie.
I mean, the credits are longer than some movies. It's a 21-minute long credit scroll.
Yep.
That's a lot of people. And the audio design is absolutely fantastic. Like the shell casings that fall out of your gun when you fire your bullets, they sound different depending on which surface you're standing on. It's like so many minute details that are just in the game that, like you're not listening to shell casings. Like, no, they're not even loud enough to even hear in the game half the time. But the fact that they have an audio cue that is supported by whatever texture, whatever area that you're on in the game, in the map or whatever, that's astounding. Like, that's a technical feat, and I'm like, genuinely, I wish them the best of luck, and I wish them to win as many awards as possible in the audio design department, because that's just an asinine amount of details crammed into a game for really very little payoff.
Right, and that's a good thing. Like like we were saying, right? The level of effort that goes into creating that single player campaign, when that is not necessarily like the meat and potatoes. And they do win a lot of audio awards. They win awards at at the BAFTAs, at the VGAs, at DICE, for audio design and audio implementation. And a lot of times they get what was the one that kind of caught people off guard this year? They were up for, I forget, they were up for like technical achievement in graphic design or something like that. And people were like, oh no, there's and again, it's just because there's a lot of work and a lot of visual effects and a lot of things that go unnoticed. But a huge amount of effort goes into that game, and like I said, it just kind of gets slept on every year.
Yeah, it's interesting. We talk about the attention to detail in this game, and it makes me think about when people were out there saying, "Oh, well, PlayStation should build a COD. It's so easy to do," and it's like, no, it's not. I mean, like you talk about the credits. I mean, this thing's a machine. It's a well-oiled machine at that. I mean, it's impressive what Activision's able to do every year with this franchise. I mean, it's a machine. It's a machine. The fact that, like Deli, you brought up that small attention to detail with and I never knew that, by the way, Deli, that the shell casings, when they hit different surfaces, would sound differently. And I don't even recall ever hearing shell cases hit the ground when I'm playing Call of Duty multiplayer, at least. I maybe I have, but I don't recall hearing that. But just that level of attention to detail. And we talked about this game, like the skill trees, the different weapons, the weapon variety, and how those weapons feel. Like one of the criticisms that I had about Redfall was that the weapons all kind of felt the same for the most part. Like they just didn't really have a lot of weight. And that's not the case with Call of Duty. Each weapon feels different and unique. And there's a lot of, there's a lot of detail, a lot of thought, a lot of work that's put into that game. And as I said, it's really impressive that they're able to crank that out on a yearly basis. So,
yeah, but I really want to clarify. When I say slept on, obviously I don't mean slept on in terms of game sales. Obviously, the thing sells gangbusters every year. But I mean slept on just in terms of recognition by the gaming community for its technical achievements, and like you said, the attention to detail. They do get recognized by those things, by the profession itself. When there are a lot of these award shows like Dice, where the voting body are actually professionals in the industry, as well as the TGAs or VGAs, whatever we're calling them these days. So they get their propers at the award shows, but the average gamer thinks of it just as kind of an aggro bro shooter, and doesn't recognize the technical achievements and the artistic achievements that are woven into the game.
Yeah,
Right,
that's a great,
because the
that's a great point, yeah.
Horizon Forbidden West credits is like 30 some minutes long, but that game comes out every 4 years, right? Or every like 3 or 4 years. Call of Duty has a credits that's just almost as long, and it comes out every single year, and it's being supported at a rate that other games aren't being supported by. Like despite how the community may feel about the game and the changes that are being made, the fact that it's getting updates almost every day. Like if you look at their Trello board, they're updating it like every other day, every 3 days I'm getting like a new update, new minor patch, new half gig update. Like I got one 3 days ago or 2 days ago. I got one 2 days ago ahead of the large patch. Like they could have just rolled that into the large patch and called it a night today at 1 p.m. But they decided to push out half a gig of updates 3 days, like two or 3 days prior to this thing. That's obscene, and that's unheard of. Riot Games, like Dota, those guys update every 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. You get like one major patch or whatever. Epic Games does that with Fortnite as well too. It's like every 3 weeks or something like that. It's like every 3 weeks and is a minor patch, and every 6 weeks is a large patch. But Call of Duty is doing it pretty weekly, like at least twice a week. That's a cadence that is impossible to match by any large company, and it is actually impossible to match by any large company because the companies that I just listed don't even do that, and they're just as large, if not larger.
That's a great point.
Yeah,
Telly.
they're doing that across all platforms.
All platforms, yeah.
I mean, the other thing is, and Deli, you may have heard some some more information about this. I don't know the exact specifics, but I always love looking back at gaming industry history. And 2010 was when Zampella and West were fired from Activision, and at that point, only Infinity Ward and Treyarch were doing Call of Duty. I mean, the support studios were there, but as far as lead studios, so a lot of this, just in terms of the massive scaffolding that it's become, like it's doubly interesting, right, and amazing to consider that those things have happened post Zampella and West. So it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was 2010 because it was right after the launch of Modern Warfare 2, that Vince and Wes left the studio and ended up having a fairly large lawsuit. No slouch. A year later,
I remember that.
400 million. It was a huge deal.
I can't believe it's been that long. By the way, you said 2010. Like it almost feels like to me it feels like yesterday when Zampella left and started Respawn, and then dropped Titanfall. So, and now working on Jedi Survivor, or the Jedi games, as they call them. Real quick, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. Well, I was just saying that's another like risen phoenix from the ashes story as well, right? That's a good news story, right? Is Zampella and West go in, they get escorted out by the dudes in black boots, and then they go off and create Respawn, and Respawn itself has had an amazing history of what they put out. You and I were talking about Jon Favreau earlier this week, and just kind of his rise, and Zampella has done something similar to where he's now become kind of the great bird of EA with the stuff that he's been doing. So
absolutely, yeah. I mean, like Titanfall 1, Titanfall 2 were great games, and then he comes in, he does the Jedi, what was the first Jedi Survivor, the prequel to Jedi Survivor? Now I forget. Was it Fallen Order?
And not only does it, but he also had to negotiate, right, and fight to be able to do that. Because remember, really, that was the first single player game that got a big budget, got a big marketing push. In an era where EA had said, well, we're just doing multiplayer games, or everything's going to be around multiplayer.
Yeah. I mean, I would argue that Respawn has, at least for me, saved EA. I mean, outside of, like, because you're right, like everything they were doing was like multiplayer focused, and now you see he's come in and he's changed kind of the dynamic with the really with, I think, the Jedi Fallen Order would be the start. Well, I'd say Titanfall. I mean, well, no, Titanfall had a multiplayer aspect, but the Titanfall story, Titanfall 2, the story of that game. Because remember, Titanfall 1 didn't have a story. It's kind of one of the complaints of Titanfall 1. Great multiplayer. But if you remember, the story for Titanfall 2 was actually really good. And I forget, there was a level where you'd have to switch back and forth in time or something. Oh God, I forget the level in Titanfall 2.
Yeah, that was kind of throughout the story. I mean, it was it
was it throughout the story? I thought there was like
had
one specific level where you were doing that. You were like, you would, to kind of like traverse that level, you would switch to avoid like certain.
It was like a watch or something
Yes,
that, like you would, or a glove or something that you took from a dead guy, and
that's what it was. Yeah,
to hit the button at certain times, because like you would go into the past where the facility that you're at hasn't already been destroyed, but
that's right.
You have to contest with the machines that were there to stop you, and then in order to get past certain areas, let's say there's a door that you don't have the code to get through, you would hit the button and the door will already be open off the hinges or whatever. It'd be like little things like that, as well as like there was traversal, how like that Titanfall traversal that's so great. But there was like certain areas that you would have to traverse, so you would need to basically jump, hit the button, hit like a different section that is only like still there in like a different time period, and then reverse back before you hit the next part. It was pretty cool. It was well done. I love that level. It was pretty good.
Yeah, it had actually better traversal than Jedi Survivor. Yeah, but I think,
I don't disagree with that line. Yeah, not that the traversal's bad. I think it's Jedi Survivor, but it's not as
it just doesn't feel as refined and fluid. Yeah, I think what I'm thinking is I thought it had it. I thought it had it on. I said throughout, but I don't mean like throughout. Like you could use it willy nilly throughout the game. I thought there was more than one level where that happened, but I could be wrong. But it was I totally agree with Slow Mo. It was pretty awesome game input. It was frustrating in certain points where you had to really swap back and forth rapidly while you were traversing a wall. But it was pretty dope.
Yeah, that definitely was. Speaking of Slow-Mo, welcome, Slow-Mo.
Sorry,
what's up, man?
Just jumped in the middle.
Oh, no worries, man.
What's up, Di? What's up,
what's
man?
up, buddy? What's up, pal? What's up, bro? What's goody?
Yeah, so I'm playing. We talked about Burning Shores earlier. I'm playing that, but I'm also playing Jedi Survivor, and I'm enjoying Jedi Survivor. I know there's been some performance issues. Some of that stuff's been patched. I think there's another patch. I think Logic, you were saying that came out today for the consoles, or is it this week?
I don't know if it came out today. I saw the report Monday or Tuesday saying,
Okay.
I think that it said the PC patch was out and that the PlayStation and Xbox patch were coming out later this week.
Gotcha. Yeah. Now I didn't experience a lot of the performance issues that some of the people were discussing, and I'm not saying that those issues didn't exist. I'm just giving you my experience. Of course, I played the version on PC, Slow-Mo, which is, probably the definitive version to play any video game at this point. I think you might agree with me with that, Slow-Mo.
But I think their issues were pretty universal. People were having issues on consoles as well as PC. I decided I played a little bit of it, and then I said, I'm just gonna wait for them to come out with more patches to fix things. And I did play a significant amount of time of it last night. I'm on the second planet, and I'm having fun with it. It's cool. I think combat is a bit easier in this game than it was in Fallen Order, but I do like I think I'm liking the story so far a little bit better than Fallen Order. So not saying it was bad or anything. I'm just enjoying it more. I do see the differences though, like where I've seen people complain about, well, why everyone going on Redfall for having these issues? No one's talking about Jedi Survivor, and I'm like, bruh, it's a large difference between Jedi Survivor and Redfall in terms.
Why do people do that, Slow-Mo? Like I saw a lot of that chatter. People like, oh, you guys give Jedi Survivor a pass. It's not the same thing. It's like these things exist on a spectrum. Like I don't understand why that happens.
They're only there to try to distract from.
They seem to only do it with you, by the way, Slimo, on Twitter. I've noticed that.
Yeah, they've been coming for you, Mo.
Yeah, Slimo, you get a lot of a lot of straw man arguments.
A lot of straw man. I like them straw man arguments. They're easy to smack down.
Slimo's like,
That's
no.
crazy. Yeah, because I posted something earlier today on Twitter. No interactions, no nothing. Nobody cared, which is great because I had posted. I was like, I personally never let the performance of a game bleed into my opinions about narrative design and mechanics of a game. Like, I don't think that should be that big of an issue when reviewing a video game. Like, obviously, it should be talked about. Like, you should say, like, whoa, this game is performing poorly on launch, because reviews exist outside of launch as well too. So like if somebody's buying the game a year from now, they're going to go check this review out. They don't want to hear about how the game was at launch because it's way past launch. But you should
I think Greg Miller made that same argument about why
you should note that it's you should note for media transparency, because if you're not really informing your audience, are you really making any news? You know what I mean? Like, aren't you just making, I don't know, propaganda? Aren't you making like biased claims or whatever? So you should inform them for transparency's sake. But like, I don't think it should impact the actual review. Like, performance should not impact the review, to me, anyways. If you're discussing things like narrative, whatever, but it is part of the experience, which is, again, should be noted.
What if they never fix it though?
If they never fix it, then that should be like a huge issue, right? And again, it should be noted inside the review. That's like, hey, on launch or whatever. And you can always go back in and make edits and change these things. It's not like and people do it all the time. They publish misinformation, or they publish things and then they go in and edit it and say like, oh, you should,
you imagine,
whatever.
Can you imagine someone makes a review about a game and then a year later they come back in with an edit. It's still ass, and that's it.
Yeah, it's still performance has not changed since
It
launch.
still has. It's still ass.
So, but yeah, I don't know. To me, that's how I feel about it, and I hate seeing reviews on the internet where, and this is why sometimes I really genuinely, as a developer, can't trust consumers' opinions sometimes, or at least consumer solutions, because then they let that bad performance, bad experience bleed into the rest of the game. Like, they're like, oh, because I don't know, because like, my gun disappeared from my hands, all of a sudden the story is terrible. Like, that has nothing to do with anything. But
you do have to acknowledge, like, if you're trying to get immersed into the game, like, major bugs can really be a bit more than a distraction. I mean,
of course, yeah.
For example, I first played Cyberpunk, and you guys may remember, well, maybe Enrique will remember that I had a bet with Forte that I won, and Forte had to buy me the game. So like, I somewhat felt obligated to play it at launch. And then also, I was really kind of excited to play the game, and just the issues with it were so numerous. Like, I always bring this up when it comes to that game, because I nearly quit the game at the end. I was literally on the final mission of the game, and I nearly quit because there's a particular part of a mission, and you're working with Panem and her. I forgot what they call them. I call them outsiders. I can't remember the name.
Team Pan Am, by the way.
Say what?
A Team Pan Am.
Oh yeah, everybody's Team Pan Am. But like, there's this tank, right? And so the next section, you're supposed to kill all these enemies in the area, and then the next section of the area, there's a tank that you're supposed to jump into and shoot this wall to allow you and your squad to get inside of the building,
the base area,
the next part of the mission. But for some reason, this tank was like as light as a feather, and if any bullet grazed it, it would flip up all the way high in the air, and then when it would come back down, it would come back down on its head, facing the wrong direction, which would make it impossible for me to shoot the gun to blow up the door. So I literally spent like 2-3 hours trying to keep the enemies that I'm fighting, not just keep them from killing me, but keep them from shooting anywhere near the tank. Because if they shot the tank, it will flip up in the air, and I might as well
Wow.
just restart at this point.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, when
3 hours of the same section.
I
What's
remember
the
that
proof?
level too.
Yeah.
I never had that issue, but I remember that level.
when you have game progression bugs like that, that's totally
a
different.
problem.
You actually, it impacts the actual narrative there because you can't actually get the narrative right. And somebody
Yeah.
in chat said, who goes back and reads the edit? Well, I'm not expecting you to go back and read the edit. I'm saying that when you read the article, there's usually always an edit that says like, hey, this is Delhi from a year later, like this is the editor, like no, things have not been fixed or whatever. But I'm not saying don't mention it. I'm saying mention it. You should mention it. That's the argument I'm trying to make. It shouldn't impact narrative or whatever, or game mechanics, or just general design in general. But you need to note it. Like these reviewers need to note, say, hey, by the way, launch performance is terrible, you know? And another person say if a game keeps glitching to the point I have to restart it a bunch, I'm done with it. Yeah, and that's perfectly fine, right? Like I had a progression bug in Saints Row and I couldn't beat the mission and it just kept crashing my PlayStation. Like every single time it kept crashing the game. So I could not progress for like the rest of the week. I played it on Tuesday. I couldn't progress it until, the week after when they pushed out a patch to fix it. And, that would be a mission that I couldn't complete in order to pass the story. Like, yes, that's perfectly fine. That needs to be fixed. That needs to be addressed. Right. Because that does impact the actual game. I can't actually progress. I would consider that a major bug. But like graphical glitches and texture pop-ins is like, that stuff can be fixed fairly easy.
Yeah, that's more of a minor thing, than say.
Mhm.
But for example, like with Redfall, where there is clearly a AI bug or a I don't know what is going
Or
on
lack
with
thereof AI.
Like yeah, because like they're not supposed to just stand there. You walk into a mansion and there's like 3 vampires all staring at a wall. You're like, nah, I don't think they intended that to happen.
No, not at all.
Yeah, like that's clearly a bug or something. But then that I think should affect the review because that's the actual game experience and part of story and narrative, characters, and how deep.
I mean, yeah, that's
well
part
created
of
the gameplay.
mechanics, right?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
mechanics. Like
yeah,
that's when that doesn't work. It's just like
if it's not working as intended, then yeah, it would impact it. But I'm talking about performance, like running at 30 FPS. Like I'm playing Redfall right now at like 30 FPS. All right, like does not bother me. Like, and I understand that just because it doesn't bother me doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Which is why I tell people, currently right now I can't recommend the game because it runs terribly. Again, just
you
because
playing 30 on PC.
Yeah, I've been telling you this, bro. I posted videos of
Whoa,
this.
whoa,
Like,
whoa! You're playing 30 FPS on
You know
PC?
that?
You didn't see the videos?
Oh
No.
man,
Bro, I've Brap, I will send you this video, bro. I have an entire
You have
like
a 3090 Ti.
Yes, I do.
Why-
And I have
why-
a Threadripper.
And
oh
a
man.
Threadripper, and
It's
He's
because
got-
the game has
he's
a
got
hard
Skynet.
time. The game has a hard time processing high core count
Oh, okay.
CPUs, so
True.
it
I
actually
see.
ends up limiting my core count to 4, as
Mhm.
if I have like a Skylake or something from 2016. So right now, and since I have a Threadripper, which is obviously like a prosumer, like an industrial grade or whatever, it runs at like 3.6 gigahertz, which like the new Intels run at like 5.2. So like there's a huge variance in speed there, and if I can't, if my core clocks aren't as fast as like the new cutting edge stuff, it's obviously not going to be able to compensate for that stuff. So my CPU, not really a gaming CPU. So I know a lot of people are saying like, Deli, why did you buy a CPU to, like that to play games or whatever? Well, it's not to play games, but it should run games normally like everything else. The problem is my PC performance is I have to lower the game to medium and it still stutters really like a lot.
That's your versus
so yeah.
stutter. Yeah, it's I was listening to Digital Foundry discuss it, and they were discussing that particular issue in Redfall was a old Unreal Engine 4 issue that a lot of developers have figured a way around, a workaround to. but apparently that workaround didn't make its way to Arcade Austin, I guess. So
I mean, yeah, I guess
yeah.
so yeah, no, I'm not actively selectively playing the game on 30 FPS on a 3090 Threadripper 20. I'm not like, oh, I'm gonna
So
limit my
bad for the
FPS to
console
30. I'm gonna
guys.
get the real next gen experience. No, I'm not doing that. I'm
I
just
feel
saying
so
like
bad for these console guys. We're gonna play it the way they play it.
I'm gonna play it like how it's
Yeah.
intended, 40 FPS on, whatever. But yeah, I sent you the video on DM's BRAP. You can see at one point it dips to
I check.
28 FPS.
I'll check it out. Yeah.
In the top left hand corner. So yeah, no, I'm not actually
I get
limiting my
dips
frame
too,
rate.
but just not that low. My dips it'll go down to like 45 frames per second, but it's usually it's that traversal when I go to a different area of the map. If I go into like a different zone or a neighborhood or whatever, like a new area that an underboss runs or something. That's when I see that dip. It'll go from, for me it's averaging around like 80 90 FPS, and then it'll drop to like 45. Which is like when you cut your frame rate in half, you're gonna feel that. Like you're definitely
Yeah, of
gonna
course.
be
Even
like,
if you have like G Sync or whatever, like you can definitely notice the slowdown. It's just smoother with all that extra stuff, but I
Yeah.
mean, it's still a bummer. Like I said, actively tell people, yes, this game runs absolutely horrendously. I would not
Mhm.
recommend it in the current state. I've told people publicly, I said this is a 2 out of 10. I cannot recommend this
Wow.
to anybody. Like I physically cannot recommend this game to anybody. Like go buy it. Like I've had the conversations. Another game developer was like, "Hey, I'm super excited to check this out. I was, kind of heard something crazy. Is this running at whatever?" And I said, "These are my specs. This is what it's currently running at. This is the FPS that I normally get. Cannot recommend this game right now." And I don't mind being transparent like that. I'm just saying that like I feel like that's what reviews should be like, right, Mo, or
Mhm.
and Brap and everybody else. Like, I feel like the performance shouldn't really affect the game that much, but it should still be noted. It should like people should actively know about it. You need to inform your consumer base that there are issues. It's just that those issues are outside of the critical critiques of the other pillars of the actual game, unless the pillars are actually directly affected by it, as if major game progression bugs like, hey, I didn't actually finish the game because I couldn't, because some reviewers did not finish the game for Cyberpunk because they had issues or whatever, right? um but it should be
there were
highlighted,
a
right?
few I think pre-launch there were some actual bugs that prevented people from progressing the story in Cyberpunk. So I do remember hearing about those. I think I do agree with you generally that like a game should be reviewed on its content and not necessarily on it's you have to know performance. And I have a bigger issue with people who would do a review and don't mention the performance at all.
Yes, those people should definitely not be taken seriously or should have their credibility lowered. Again, I'm not saying that we need to hide, like I don't want people to not know about this stuff. I want people to know about it, right? Like
Mhm.
Eugene said at some point performance is so bad it should affect the game's review, though. Yes, it should. Again, it needs to be highlighted. But if it's a game like, oh, it's not running at 60 FPS, like to be honest with you, that's not that huge of a deal breaker. Redfall has much bigger issues than that, personal opinion, or just the same opinion as the wider community, right? But the actual content of the game is a different story, is a different issue than the actual performance. Those
Yeah.
are two separate issues, both resulting cumulatively in a bad game or in a poor performing game. Which is why I gave it a
I
2 out
think
of
it's
10.
degrees to it though, because like let's say it's dropping to like single digit frame rate. Now you're playing a slideshow, and
Yes,
now it's
because
like you can't even aim and shoot and
The
hit
Last
enemies.
Guardian dipped to
Yeah.
12 FPS on PlayStation 4. Did it bother me? Nope. Did it bother a lot of people? Yes. And it should be highlighted as well. And it did. The reviews were like, yo, this game runs terribly on the PlayStation 4. And the PlayStation 4 Pro doesn't fix it.
Been a shooter. If a game drops to 12 FPS in a shooter, can you even actually aim at enemies? Well, I mean, granted, let's say for Redfall, for example, we're expecting the enemies to actually attack you, right? So,
I mean, they're doing
so
something of the sorts.
yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe it's not a bug. Maybe it's like until we get the performance right, we're gonna have this AI just being real easy. But no. I'm kidding. No, it's more of like I think when it comes to a shooter, like you're having a smooth frame rate
Mm-hmm.
and consistent frame times, as well as just I would say a minimum 60 frames per second is really important, at least for me. And when it dips that low sometimes, and let's say I'm running down the street and then some vampire like no here's the weird thing, right? I'll go from moments where the AI of the humans is so dumb, and the vampires they literally do the same thing every time. They rush you directly at you, and I can just go backwards and then move to the left as soon as they lunge at me, and they'll never hit me. But then like randomly out of nowhere, I'll be walking down the street and there's like a sniper somewhere, and I'm like getting hit, and I'm like, wait, wow, that took a lot of damage off. Where'd that come from? And there's no indicator telling me where I'm getting shot from. And I'm just like, what is happening? I'm looking around trying to figure out who's hitting me. Next thing I know, I'm dead. And I'm just like, how? Where was the enemy at? I mean, I don't even know. And like, where's the sniper at? It doesn't make any sense. And it's just, it the large like variance in gameplay makes it so frustrating because like if it's always like that, then I know, all right, any at any given time walking down the street there might be a sniper on a rooftop somewhere that's going to be pegging me, pause, so that let me go, maybe not walk down the middle of the street, maybe I'll cut through alleys or something like that to kind of avoid giving it a easy aim, easy line of sight, right? But when it's just like randomly that happens, and I don't like every time you play a shooter, you get hit from like the left. There's an indicator somewhere on the screen that tells you, hey, you just got shot, and it was from this direction right here. So maybe look left and see who's shooting you in the face, bro. And it's just like when there's not that's not there. It's just like, who thought this was a good idea? I don't know.
Yeah. Look, let me grab this super chat real quick from Neo Wise with the $2.20 super chat. It says, is Series S VRAM limitation a real issue this generation? What are your thoughts, Deli?
I mean, memory bandwidth and VRAM definitely take a part in the actual game, but it comes down to optimizations and obviously performance and game design and a bunch of other things as well that go into creating the Series S version of the game, which is a lot of the reason why the Series S version of the game is like usually like 20 or 30 gigs smaller than the Series X version, just because you kind of have to capsize a lot of that kind of stuff. But yeah, it does take into account. But if your developer is given enough time, energy, resources, and of course has a very credible and reliable reputation in order to putting talent and prioritizing the production pipeline, then it should be no problem at all.
Thank you for that answer, Deli. I appreciate it.
Sorry. I want to answer something in chat.
Go ahead,
Eugene, I understand the point you're coming from. You and I are agreeing on that point. We're not disagreeing here. But I will say though, imagine playing a very difficult game that requires precise dodge timing, precise attack windows, or otherwise demands tons from the player. Performance directly impacts the quality of the game. I agree. And Bloodborne ran at sub 30 FPS on the PlayStation 4 during launch, and it's still rated a 90 plus game. So, and that's the exact game you're describing. A lot of the time, Dark Souls 2 in Majula ran at 22, 26 FPS. That game was rated quite highly as well, too. So, yeah, it does impact the actual content of the game, but there are levels to it. I'm not saying this is like a broad generalization saying like, oh, we should all just actively ignore performance issues. Like, that's not true. I'm just saying like there needs to be a level of transparency that doesn't affect the rest of the game, right? Like Bloodborne's FPS issues on launch did not affect the game's content, story, narrative, or even its gameplay, despite it actually should affect, because that game ran again 22 to 26 FPS and some of the set pieces in the actual game. And we're already talking about the fact that we're sub 30 on Redfall. It's unacceptable sub 30 on Redfall, and it should be conversely unacceptable for Bloodborne, but it wasn't. It was completely fine. and the game is critically acclaimed, and it still runs at 30 FPS on PS5.
I refuse
So
to play Bloodborne until they come out with a 60 FPS patch or it drops on PC. So therefore, I probably would never end up playing Bloodborne.
Yeah.
Because that's probably
Oh
never
man, dude,
Yeah.
Bloodborne's so good though. You don't even think about the 30 FPS, man. I'm telling you, it is so
it
good.
is. Though
Now
you know,
that game
it's
would
just-
benefit from 60
yeah.
FPS absolutely, but it's so good. You don't
Well,
even think
it's
about
hard.
it.
It's hard coded to be at 30 FPS, which is why if they wanted to make it 60 FPS, the game kind of gets really wonky. It's not perfect, right? At 60 FPS, it's a lot of the logic breaks and a lot of like the way the animations and frame timings don't work as well.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Which is why they have to kind of like, in order to make it at 60 FPS, they kind of have to like remake it or at least remake parts of it.
Hence the remake.
So they have to remake parts of it. So it's kind of what's it called? It's kind of a larger, more complex issue than just saying let's put a patch out. But also, From Software is the same company that has a frame timing issue that's actually 3 lines of code that can be fixed, and they just still haven't fixed it. So I don't know.
Why?
You know?
Why?
I don't
Jeez.
know because
Yeah.
their frame timing, your frame timing should go 1 1 2 2 3 3 4 4 5 5. For some reason, in Bloodborne, it goes like 1 1 1 2 3 3 4 4 4 4 5 5, and it's like that frame timing issue is like it's literally 3 lines of code. Like people have proven it on the internet. Like GitHub has the actual lines of code typed out. Developers have actually come out and like worked on it. And programmers have come out and said like, yeah, this is actually the fix. And From Software is just, you know, not wanting to put it in. So Bloodborne still has that frame timing issue that is existed since 2016, and they've just refused to put it in. I don't know why.
I mean, Elden Ring launched with it too, and they fixed it on PC. They fixed it within a day on PC. I guess they already knew about it from Bloodborne. So they were just like, look, someone just put in a mod.
We'll get it down the road. We're just not gonna worry about it right now. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, they didn't worry about it in 2016. So I mean.
Yeah, and Deli, you said the only way you mentioned something like the way to fix this is probably remake parts of the game or remake the game in general, and that's one of the things we'll talk about later on tonight. So I do want to talk about Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. The review bar actually is up tomorrow morning. I think it's 8 a.m. Eastern time, 5 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Wow, sub 102.
Yeah, I agree. I triple down on that. 102 sounds great.
All right, so what do you guys? Okay, let's. I was going to ask what everyone's meta predictions here. So let's just get the meta predictions out of the way. What are you predicting, Dilly? 94. Okay, what about you, Sobo?
94.
97.
97. 97.
Yes.
What about you, Game Logic?
89.
89.
Solid.
All right. So it's still
Yeah,
solid.
right. You don't believe that.
I'm hedging my bet on. It was very interesting standing here on the sideline listening to the preceding performance discussion. But I'm putting a 1 point nit in there to drop it out of the 90s to hedge my bet on that there will be hitches of performance in this game. Not throughout, but that there will definitely be speed bumps that you will hit. Particularly when you're in one of those areas where you have a view of the entire vista of the landscape, or things of that nature. Lots of when lots of items come on screen, where just they're going to be pushing the envelope of what the Switch hardware can do, and that won't come off perfectly at various points throughout the game. But
Yeah.
I'm not staking my claim on 89 as if I'm some
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. I don't think there are going to be too many performance issues, especially during traversal between the upper areas and the lower areas. I mean, it seems like they only got 5 textures on screen.
My mind
when
just
they
went
do
south.
that. So I think it's just going to be just fine. It's going to run at about good like 360p in those sections.
It's a feature.
Yeah.
It's a feature. It's a
360p.
feature. It's a feature of the Nintendo Switch.
Right. And it's gonna be so much motion blur that you won't even be able to tell what's going on. It'll be fine.
Oh, that's actually an Easter egg from Breath of the Wild. If you played Breath of the Wild, that's a callback. They put that back in the game.
The motion blur.
Yeah, the low FPS.
Oh man, that motion blur. Yeah, I'm gonna go with a 95 Metacritic.
95.
I think it was Gene Park who he's reviewing the game, and he was talking about the preview. I believe it was him who said that the game performs very well, and it seems to be. I'm paraphrasing. He was kind of like what wizardry is this that Nintendo put together with this game, because it seems to be performing well. Is what he's saying.
See,
So
I told you. Man,
So-
people are going to be. I don't see this game getting dinged for performance.
I think this game is
When does the embargo lift for the reviews?
8
he said.
tomorrow morning at 8. Yeah, 8 our
Okay.
time, Delhi. Yeah, so it is. Look, I that trailer they showed, the not the trailer, the direct that they had, where they showed Link piecing together like a boat or a raft, I think it was,
yeah.
and then creating, different weapon combinations. I mean, I'm just like I mean, like my concern with that game was that it was just going to be more of the same, and they've clearly built upon, we just mentioned it, Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild, yeah.
Yeah, and I just think this game's good. I mean, based on what I've seen, based on my experience with Breath of the Wild, this is just, I think, going to be an epic game. And I wouldn't surprise me if this game was in conversation for Game of the Year or when we get to the end of this year.
It is the conversation.
Oh, okay.
There
Well,
is no other conversation.
Everyone else is fighting for just to be nominated, just to be up there on the same stage as the game. What I'm telling you right now, tomorrow you're gonna see people on Twitter like, "This game changed my life. I was contemplating ending it all, and then I played
changed my
Tears of the
life.
Kingdom, and now I've got like 5 girlfriends. I've got a well-paying job, and I'm living in a penthouse by the shore. It's amazing, all because of this game. Like, people are literally going to act like Tears of the Kingdom is this game that basically changed them, to the core. Like, they freaking changed their DNA. That's the way people are going to act tomorrow. So just be prepared. There's no other game that's going to come out this year that's going to have people talking like that. It's Game of the Year.
So I think Starfield will be the other one, but go ahead, Sima.
So the embargo supposedly lifts tomorrow morning at 8 a.m.
Okay,
Yep.
I'll be excited to to read it like the morning news.
I'm gonna be drinking my Starbucks to Delhi and reading the reviews, and I tell you, man, this game is I just feel like this game's gonna be an epic game, and
Yeah, I'll just be glad when it's launched, released, and this is over. This has become like my iPhone of gaming, where I just want the damn thing to come out so I can stop hearing all the rumors and BS, and we can move on to the next thing.
Yeah. Which is Starfield, and then it'll be Spider-Man.
But Logic, you don't want it to change your life?
He already drives a Ferrari. His life doesn't need to be changed.
yeah, Hamp's got Hamp money.
So
3 Ferraris, MTV cribs.
He's playing Tears of the Kingdom so that he can experience what it feels like to be us.
Yeah, I mean, look, it'll be a thing. I mean, it'll do its thing. It's just not. I mean, for me personally, it's just not the most interesting thing in my windshield. Looking forward to Spider-Man 2. People will hate this because they will insist that my perspective should be the same as theirs and every other gamer. But I'm a huge racing fan. I'm actually looking forward to F1 23, which comes out June 16th.
And you're also looking forward to
I was about to say, are you looking forward to Forza Motorsport? That's supposed to come out.
I was about to say that.
Talk that it might come out this summer as well.
How you guys are causing me a short circuit.
Slow-mo, you got him started now.
how would I look forward to Forza Motorsport?
I don't know.
I have no idea when it's coming out.
Your Xbox and anything that has X with it, right?
No, but besides that, I mean, I could play it on PC if I wanted to. But my problem is, how am I supposed to be, and how am I supposed to have anticipation about something when I don't know when it's coming out?
That's true.
That's a good
I
point.
mean, Chris Scott, I know when the Pixel Fold and the Pixel Tablet are shipping. Nobody told me those were going to be out in 12 months.
That's true.
right? But I have no idea. I have an inability to get excited about something when I don't know when it's coming out.
Yeah. That's a fair point. It's a fair point, Game Logic. But yeah, I don't disagree with everyone here in the panel. I think this is Game of the Year. And I have Starfield as a close second. Or maybe first. I don't know. I think Starfield's going to be great.
I wish Hogwarts Legacy would get nominated, but
I think it will be nominated for at least once.
nah.
It might.
I think it's
It
gonna
probably
get
will.
ignored for political.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
It might be left out of the question, left out of the conversation
Yeah.
for convenience sake. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's also got the fact that it was just an early year release, right? And recency bias is a thing.
True.
Except if your name's Elden Ring. Did Elden Ring release in March of last year?
February.
February.
Yeah,
February. There you go,
end of
February, yeah.
February, yeah.
Yep.
Same thing with a lot of the 2017 games that released early. You know, Resident Evil and Breath of the Wild was what, a March release in 2017,
I believe so. Yeah.
along with the Switch when the Switch launched.
Yep, that's right. Yep, March of 2017, yeah.
What an
let me grab
insane
this.
time to launch a console, though. March.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. I remember when they announced the release date, we're like March, or everyone scratching their head, and then like you go out to buy. There was like long lines. I remember my GameStop had a line for just a pre-order, the Switch. There was a line outside of the GameStop. It was insane. So
Yeah, and it gave them plenty of time for the momentum and the hype to build. You know, with the console actually out on the street, you know, up to the holiday season, right? Which just allowed it to sell even more gangbusters.
Yeah. By the way, we have 228 people watching. 72 likes. Please smash that like button. If you haven't done so already, you want to grab a super chat too. True Virgil, $2 super chat says, "Hold the line and hold Phil and stroke his hair." I will not be stroking anyone's hair. That's no. Nor I will be holding any kind of line. Won't be doing that either. But thank you for the super chat, True Virgil. So, Dilly, I want to go back to your commentary about the Bloodborne remake, because there is a rumor that the PlayStation Showcase, and Jeff Grubb's been talking about this for some time, that the PlayStation Showcase, and B Money's actually talked about it on this show, could be the week of May 25th, end of May, maybe early June, first week of June. But there are some other rumors that we could be seeing a deal with Konami and PlayStation where certain Konami titles, famous titles like Silent Hill, let's say famous, but very popular titles, I should say, well, famous too, Silent Hill, Castlevania, and Metal Gear Solid will be shown, and these would be remakes. And now we've talked about it on this show before. I mean, you were here, Slomo, a couple of years ago when we talked about, and I think it was pretty sure it was B Money who brought it up, the Metal Gear Solid remake, Bloodborne remake, the Castlevania one. I think, we've heard a little bit about that in the past. The Silent Hill one we've heard about before, but this showcase is apparently supposed to be big. It's supposed to be, according to the rumors, if you believe the rumors to be true, it's supposed to be a kind of the big showcase that Sony's been planning for some time. And if they show Metal Gear Solid remake, I'm going to be ecstatic. I'm going to be so excited. Like,
I mean,
do backflips.
The
Like,
cutscenes
yeah, I mean,
the pachinko machines in the Fox engine are absolutely fantastic. So yeah, if they launched a game that looked as photoreal as the stuff that they've launched in the pachinko machines, then yeah, I think that definitely would be a huge system seller.
yeah, but that's, I mean, so
let me allow me
Yeah, go ahead,
to be a bucket of cold water for a moment.
oh, don't do that.
So remember, everyone was like, "Oh man, Silent Hill's coming back." Oh man, Silent Hill. Uh-oh. And then they found out Bloober Team was making it. And then it was like, oh.
I mean, there's still two or three more Silent Hills in the works. It's not just Bloober Team holding up the Silent Hill flag only.
But well, this is what I'm saying is that it's cool these games are being remade, but Konami doesn't really have like the talent to do that stuff in house that they used to. So they're relying on outsourcing it to other studios, and allow me to not be too enthused that like they chose Bloober Team for Silent Hill. So who are you choosing for Metal Gear? I mean,
Who
because like
knows,
you
man?
chose freaking Bloober Team, who's never made a good game, to do Silent Hill.
I
Okay,
don't
so
know.
who's
Maybe Blue
next?
Point. Maybe Blue Point.
Blue Point.
Blue Point. You know.
I would be blue if it's Blue Point. All right, that's awesome because they can they have proven they can knock out an awesome remake. But I don't like start we 0 for 1 right now on the Konami remake front. And until I see who you got lined up to do, because look, with PlayStation involved with remakes of games so far, they're actually 0 for 2. There's Silent Hill and there's Knights of the Old Republic.
Which got rebooted.
Who thought Aspire was a good idea?
Over 2 right now.
Look,
The
look.
track record's not looking too hot, but
Not at all.
you know, it's okay. Those haven't come out yet.
Look, Slimo. Look, as a fan of these franchises, like I'm excited. I'm excited about the possibilities.
And you're allowed to be, and you should be.
I'm just saying.
People
I'm
should be
just trying to
excited.
temper it because people can say, yeah, and then they come out and they say being developed by Sumo Digital. You're just like, no.
Oh, it can't be Sumo Digital.
Hey, it could be.
Hey, it could be
Look,
Pixelopolis.
Sorry,
is that too soon?
That's too soon,
way
Deli.
too soon.
That's
I'm sorry,
way
guys,
too
I'm sorry.
soon.
I'm
Way
sorry.
too
Hearts
soon.
out to those guys. I love you guys. You guys are very talented and very cool. That was a distasteful joke on my end.
Look,
I thought so.
look. It's better to be excited about games than it is potential mergers, acquisitions, and I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I agree. But for the rumors,
Not when those
sorry,
games
go
are
ahead,
rumors.
Oh, come on, Logic. Come on.
Hey, I have a standard, and I'm going to stick
I
to
know,
it. I can be
I know.
criticized for it, but I will be consistent.
Hey, you
Yeah.
know, I respect that.
Yeah,
And
no,
are those rumors at another Tom Henderson joint?
no. These
LOL.
are things that have been. So we first heard about and I'm going to credit B Money because B Money's the one who talked about this. How long ago was this, Slomo? Like 2 years ago? No, longer than that, right? Was it 2 years?
It's been years about this Metal Gear remake, dude.
Yeah, like I think Slomo. Like so I think.
I remember B Money mentioning it about a year and a half ago. I think
Yeah.
it was.
And then there was the Bloodborne thing, the remake that's happening, and apparently it's Blue Point that's working on that.
I feel like the Bloodborne thing has been happening since Bloodborne launched.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
right.
at this point, I mean, look, and shout out to the people who told us this because they're great people and they do have a lot of sources and stuff. But like I remember Enrique remembers this being told, like, hey, look, man, I've talked to the port studio that's doing the port for PC. It's in development. It's on the way. They're going to announce it soon. And we was like, yeah, let's go. And then nothing happened. So at this point now, it's just like, I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, Slobo. But it is exciting. I think for me as a fan of like Bloodborne is one of my favorite games ever. And then for Deli to say, hey, like if we were to get it, because everyone's always talked about. A lot of people have just like when it comes to Bloodborne have said, "Gosh, like imagine Bloodborne with the 60 FPS. Like, can we get the patch?" And Deli, you bring up the point about what was it was it the frame pacing, whatever
Well, yeah, all of the
Yeah.
animations and everything are coded for 30 FPS. So
Yes.
every animation, so like your attack animation is 30 frames per second. If you just double that, it's like it'll work, but again, the game is hard coded for 30 FPS. So all of the logic is for 30 FPS. All of the iframes are for 30 FPS. If you and people who have like patched it on their PlayStations or whatever, doubling up the frame rate to 60 FPS on the PS4 or on the PS4 Pro and the PS5,
Yeah.
the iframes basically you lose the majority of your iframes. You lose like 75% of your iframes. So the game actually does become slightly unplayable. because you
Oh, wow.
lose all of that rolling potential. So now it's almost twice as hard, right? Which I'm sure is great for other people, but on a technical perspective, that's not how the game should work, nor should anybody ever desire it to work that way. Just because it's not fun, it's not good. It also is what's it called? It's it messes with the original intention of the game, right? Because Bloodborne is kind of a game that's like a lot of people can play, right? Like it's not too Dark Soulsy, and it's not quite Elden Ring, and it's a very, for me anyways, it feels like a very mass appeal game. Obviously, this launched before Dark Souls 3, before obviously global mass appeal, and of course Elden Ring as well too. So this effort was a lot more in that direction, and to compromise that by reducing the amount of iframes by 75% is just, it's not going to be cohesive to the original structure of the game. And of course, again, all the animations and everything, all the enemies and all the boss AI and all that stuff. It's all hard coded
Yeah.
at 30 FPS. So
Yeah, but to your earlier point though about like if they needed to do 60 FPS, like you said, they would have to basically remake the game.
yeah, they would have to remaster it, remake it.
Yeah.
They would have to take parts out and what's it called, and build things up fresh and brand new, and actually support it at that new frame rate, at that new resolution, at that whatever it is, right? And that's important as well too, because there are foundational issues, or there are foundational struts in the game that are, again, hard coded to 30 FPS, and those design philosophies, those design mechanics, those just game
Yeah.
design is that way, and just doubling things up like that isn't actually the solution, quote unquote, that everybody thinks it is.
Yeah. So let me ask the panel this question then. Assuming this event is end of this month or first week of June, what do you want to see from PlayStation here? I'll go with you, Game Logic.
I'm not sure. Again, I'm not kind of in this mold where I worry too much about what's coming up. I mean, obviously Spider-Man 2, obviously any hint of where they're going with Wolverine. Just the basic question is for Wolverine is this just going to be like another beat 'em up? What breaks this game out? It probably needs to be something that's not just the Spider-Man engine with the Wolverine skin.
Yeah, agreed.
But anything, and I mean, I don't expect them to do like a full-blown demo or reveal a ton of stuff. Like just some minor discussion point of just kind of where they're going, even in as much as like what timeline is it in? What's the setting in the Marvel universe? Anything of that nature. Again, full trust on with Insomniac on where they're going. I think the other part for me is, I think B Money was talking about this on Twitter, is and I'll say whatever is the next kind of expansion or drop for Gran Turismo 7 is something that I'm interested in. I think they just dropped the 1.32 patch, which included like 4 new cars. So anything that shows just kind of them continuing to kind of pump more content into that. But B Money was also talked about what top 5 franchises or whatever do you want to come back. So I know people are super interested in things like factions, but I'm actually interested in just kind of what are the next drum beats for the marquee studios, right? What is is Sucker Punch going to return to Infamous, or what are they going to do? What is Bend going to do, and what are they working on? So I mentioned some fan favorites, like Siphon Filter and things like that. I know a lot of people talk about some type of SOCOM, and I think the last thing I mentioned is anything that there's supposedly these 10 multiplayer games that are being worked on. Any reveal or any display of like what at least the first one of those is, like what is the setting, what is the plan, something more than just we're working on 10 live service multiplayer games. That kind of talks about where they're heading with those. I know there was the recent Herman Hulse interview where he said don't expect just a bunch of 10 just a bunch of 10 kind of canned multiplayer experiences that are in the same kind of mold that you've come to expect right from the industry, that they will all be different. You know, they'll be on their own kind of content release cadences. You know, nothing's going to be locked to, you know, it's not going to be one size fits all across the multiplayer game. So, you know, that was nice to hear, but I think we're getting at the time where it would be good to maybe hear about, you know, what that plan is, and a little more on what it looks like.
Yeah, what about you, Slow-Mo?
Well, I don't anticipate seeing Wolverine because I think Insomniac recognizes nobody wants to see a Wolverine that's like using his claws to, like, you know, bounce from rooftop to rooftop somewhere, you know, like your typical Spider-Man kind of thing.
Yeah.
Uh, um, you don't need all that verticality in your level design with Wolverine. It's way more grounded, and it should be way more bloody.
Like
And
the Wolverine Origins game. You know what
yeah,
I'm talking about? That one was awesome.
yeah, that was an awesome game. And if they could take some of that, like that viciousness, and just add it to whatever they plan on working with, I think that's going to be awesome. And I got full confidence in Insomniac because they've always done good work. I just think that uh, we see with their previous games they've come out in the past, say, 5 years, that a lot of it is them repurposing aspects of their tools of their game engine in order to make it work for different games, and it works perfectly because it's it's those tools are very versatile. But with Wolverine, what you would kind of expect for Wolverine is very different than what you get from what they've done previously. So I just kind of like, I don't anticipate seeing it for maybe another year or two, if anything, from them. I think we probably will see another trailer of Spider-Man that's coming out later this year, and it's not, all we've seen is like a little teaser of Miles and Peter, and I think that was Venom, and I think Craven. So they're probably going to show us a little bit more, maybe like, you know, a couple of like seconds of gameplay, but more of a trailer to get people hyped and explain what the heck's going on in the story. Um, I kind of don't expect to see factions too. I think they're going to disappoint people yet again with no factions, which is crazy because all they've shown so far is like a couple of concept arts, but I don't think we're going to see anything from that. I do think we probably will see a Ghost of Tsushima 2 trailer or an announcement of that, and then probably some of those multiplayer live service games that the dozen that they're supposed to be developing. But outside of that, I'm kind of in the dark, and I'm excited for that because I think they got a lot of stuff cooking that they've been holding back for a while, and I'm kind of excited to see what's up.
And what about you, Telly? What do you want to see from them, from the show?
Games. I just want
Yeah.
to see some
Yeah.
games, man. I just want to see something. I don't know, Mortal Kombat 12. The end of May historically is around the time that they show off the Call of Duty, the next generation of Call of Duty. So probably, you know, with their marketing partnership nowadays, probably that. I'll probably see Call of Duty. Will I see all of these like big rumors and stuff like that? Like, I don't know. Nor do I really care. I'm just happy to see them, and I'm just I think part of the what's it called? Part of the experience for me when games are launching is actually the rollout, is the hype train. Um, I'm I like that stuff. I like the marketing. I like all that extra stuff. But until that actually is concrete, you know, I don't really feel like I'm really on the hype train, or I'm really on a rollout. So yeah, I'm just hoping that we have games, and I'm more excited to see more from the Silent Hills, or the plural Silent Hill, um, what's it called, projects that are coming out here shortly, within the next, I don't know, 5 years or whatever. So Sakura is the one that I'm most looking forward to,
Mhm.
and Silent Hill F looks really really well. At least it looks, sounds really really good as well too. um yeah.
Ooh, I just had an idea.
Wait.
Hold
I
on.
want
I'm just gonna throw this out, and I
All
know you
right.
want to talk to B Money because, you know, but B knowing stuff.
Yeah,
101
yeah. I was about to say
is
B.
in
B.
the
B.
chat.
Just. I think B
Um,
was. I think his ears were like ringing. He's like, "Oh, I need to hop on."
What if they showed Persona 6?
That would
we
be
know
cool.
that's in development,
That would be cool.
And I think it's about time. I think that why is the developer's name?
Unless
Atlas?
Yeah,
P,
Atlas. I
P
think
Studio. P Studio is the one that actually does the game, but yeah, Atlas is
Yes.
the
Yeah.
publisher.
yeah. P Studio definitely has been dropping hints that something is going to, like, some reveal of Persona 6 is coming soon. So it wouldn't surprise me if they did show it now. Considering that the previous two games have been
I mean, it's been
time
7
exclusive
years.
to
Oh my God, has it
yes,
been 7 years
yeah,
since
it has
Persona
been, yeah.
5?
It's the Japanese launch of Persona 5 was in September of 2016, and then the American release was April 2017. So yeah, it's
Yep.
been six years since NA
Oh
release,
my
7 years since the
gosh.
actual game has been
I'm
finished,
old.
released, and done.
Yeah, and
So
they've had their royal version out already, and they've done their little spin-off thing
Yes.
with
Strikers.
yeah.
Strikers, right?
Strikers is really
Yeah.
good, by the way.
So it's time now for Persona 6, and
It's
And there's
time.
and they just launched a mobile game for
Mm-hmm.
Persona. So yeah, their rollout has been pretty fantastic. So hopefully we'll hear from that shortly as well too. Yeah, I don't know. I hope that the PlayStation showcase. That's a pretty hot topic. So I hope that I see one big exclusive game. So either Spider-Man or something. It doesn't matter which exclusive it is. I just want to see one that I'm looking forward to. Hopefully a new one. So it would be nice to see, I don't know, maybe a returning IP like SOCOM or Killzone come back. I was a fan of Killzone. I've always been a fan of Killzone. I thought that it's a fantastic series, even with the issues that came with it.
Yeah. No, that's I'm with you, Deli. I want to see games. It's been a long time since we've had like a big PlayStation showcase. They've done the state of plays, but we haven't had that big one since was that 20? I forget.
So
It was
last
like
year? October or something like that, right? Am I wrong?
no, the big one where they revealed KOTOR remake. I think that was the last
they
big
haven't done one
showcase.
since
Yeah.
2021.
Yeah, so it's been 2
it
years.
has?
Yeah.
Oh my God, it has been.
Yeah,
2
it's been 2 years. Yeah,
Oh,
so
wow.
I'm with you, Dilly. I want to see games. I want to see. We know Bed Studio's working on a new game. I want to hopefully.
It was like fall,
Yeah,
or late summer.
it was late
2021.
summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we do have B Money with us. B, what are you hearing, man?
What's going on, fellas?
What's up, B?
What's up,
Not much,
B?
man.
Welcome,
Not
man.
much. Yeah, man. I was running a little late, but figured I'd hop in here if you guys were still on, so see what's going on.
Yeah, so B, are you hearing anything? Like, is there anything you can share with us with regards to the PlayStation Showcase? We mentioned earlier, Jeff Grubb has mentioned. I think you've mentioned this too. End of May potentially for a showcase. But are you still hearing that? And do you think have you heard anything in terms of games?
No, I haven't heard anything as specific in regards to games. I know there's certain games that should be here. PlayStation has quite a few games that are complete and kind of ready to launch. So there's a few things that should be here and announced. But what I've been told is that the actual lineup for the showcase hasn't been finalized yet. So we shall see. I was told maybe a couple weeks ago that it would be after Tears of the Kingdom release is when they would make the announcement. Which what they said to me was after Mother's Day, which
This weekend.
kind of is this weekend. So I would assume the announcement would be sometime next week, and then we would potentially have the showcase on the 25th, like Grub suggested. So we'll just kind of go by that right now. That's kind of as far as when a showcase should be happening, and then there's quite a few things that should be here. Spider-Man is definitely going to be here. we should see Arrowhead's game here. I wouldn't be surprised if that actually just launched right as the showcase is going on. Um, there's the game from Deviation could be announced here, or they may hold that off until the second half because this is only part one of their rollout. We should actually be having another event sometime in the fall to kind of roll out some other things that they have going on. So this is just part one, and then people should be excited for what they have coming up at the end of the year. So.
Oh wow! So this is going to be the kickoff to game reveals, and then there's a follow up like later in the year. Then.
Yes, sir. That's what I've been
Oh,
told.
okay, interesting. All right, B, I appreciate that, man. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, look, I just want to see games. I'm with Deli. I want to see games. Look, the remake stuff, and B, I'm sure you've heard about the, Metal Gear Solid remake, all that. And who knows if that's going to be shown, but yeah, even if that doesn't happen, like just show me games. That's all I want to see. That's all I care about. Just show me games.
Yeah,
The Wolverine would be great, but at this point, it's been 2 years since they've done a showcase. I'm just really want to see what they're working on.
That's also because like I said a few years ago, their strategy changed. They don't want to show stuff and just continue to show it. They want to show stuff when it's a potential, has potential to release within the next year to 18 months. So they're not gonna do like they used to do, where they show us the same thing for 3 years at E3. Their strategy as far as their rollout and how they market their games has totally changed, and it's why like their marketing strategy for their big games doesn't happen until like right before the game releases. They don't have these big 6-month rollouts now. It's more of like a 60-day rollout, and they go all out as the game releases. So it's just a different strategy, which seemingly has been working for them, since they implemented that. So I would assume that they're going to stick to that, and then as some of the games start to release, as far as their games as a platform, they'll have a slightly different rollout.
So you definitely. I remember in light of what you're saying right now, that like you were saying before, that like they got quite a few games that are very close to like being ready to be released, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that would kind of make sense then, if that's their game plan. They can do a showcase now, and it's just like, yeah, okay, so here are all the games that are coming out within the next another year and a half, and we'll see you guys in 2025.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which gives a lot of breathing room for us too as developers, because then
right.
we don't have we just have the internal deadlines, which is great. We don't have any public deadline that we have to face scrutiny when it comes to like whether or not we hit it or miss it.
Yeah, because a lot of people are like worried. Like, I had a little discourse on Twitter yesterday, because people were like, "Oh, well, PlayStation's first party has been soft. They really haven't released anything this year." It's like, okay, I mean, I understand that to a certain extent, but they did release 3 products so far this year. MLB The Show. They have Horizon Call of the Mountain, and then they released the expansion for Forbidden West. So there's 3 products there. Spider-Man is coming. There should be, I want to say, 2 other products that released this year to go along with Spider-Man. So, people who are kind of down on PlayStation this year because they haven't had this big rollout of first-party games, you also have to remember that they signed some big third-party deals as well. Forspoken was one of them. Regardless of how great the game is, that was a game that they signed way back when. It has a 2-year exclusive. We have Final Fantasy 16, which is releasing next month, I believe, and then Final Fantasy 7 is supposed to release, sometime in the winter. So they filled out their calendar of content that will be exclusive to their platform, and it doesn't all have to be from a first party standpoint.
Yeah, leveraging those third party relationships. Yeah, I mean, and that I think kind of to Ellie's point gives their first party a little more breathing room, right?
Right.
Yeah. I forgot Final Fantasy 16 is coming out next month. Oh my gosh. I got to figure out.
That's the day one.
Me too, Slobo. It looks great. I just got to figure out how to fit all these games in now because I'm still playing Jedi Survivor, finishing up Burning Shore DLC. Tears of the Kingdom comes out Friday. Jeez.
Yeah, 2 days.
And then also in June is Diablo 4. I don't know if I'm going to jump back into that right away. We'll see. I don't know.
Sir, Diablo 4. Woo!
Yeah. So
That's
it's stacked. Yeah, it's stacked.
Yeah.
It's stacked. So yeah. Oh man, time. I'm telling you, time. I just don't have enough time to play all these games, which leads me to. All right. I on Twitter, and after some consideration, some thought about my usage of my Xbox Series X console, my activity in Game Pass, not big, like I really use Game Pass. I have a PC, so I bought a Series X. I rarely use Series X at all. And I put out a tweet yesterday that I was selling my Series X console, and then after my Game Pass subscription runs up, I'm not renewing it. I turn off the auto renew feature. I'm just not going to renew it because I don't use Game Pass. With Starfield coming out, I'll probably just pick up Starfield for $70. Because my ROI on Game Pass it's not been great for me. Now, I know there's going to be people later on in the chat, or not in the chat, but in the comment section. Oh, BRAP, it's so many games and I played so much. That's great for you. That just hasn't been my experience. That's why I'm not. And then look, there's a piece of this where Phil Spencer's interview with Kind of Funny. I've gone back and watched it like 3 times now. It just really the third time watching it. Actually, no, I've watched it more than 3 times. The last time watching it, it's just a weird interview to me. Like as I reflect on it, and he's talking about, the 11 out of 10 game and that whole thing. It was just a weird interview for me. It just left me with more questions than answers in terms of what Xbox is doing. And I thought to myself, I'm not going to wait around for them to kind of figure out whatever it is they're trying to figure out. And this is sort of my experience with Nintendo, where I left Nintendo after many, many years of being in the Nintendo ecosystem. I was like, okay, I'm not going to wait around for Nintendo to figure out what they're going to do. And then they released the Nintendo Switch and I came back. So, but I think what's kind of weird to me is some of the anger by the Xbox fandom of me tweeting that I am selling my Xbox Series X and that I'm no longer subscribed to Game Pass for the time being. And I said, look, if at some point, if Game Pass starts picking up and it starts doing the things that I want it to do, and it starts doing the things that led to me subscribing into Game Pass, which was when Microsoft announced Xbox Game Pass. In my mind, I'm like, well, geez, like $120 a year. At this time, games were $60 a pop. If I get 2-3 first-party AAA releases a year, I'm good. Or if they sprinkle in some other, big releases, I'm good from third-party, third-party relationships. That just doesn't happen for me, and I don't just see the need or value. And again, I'm not saying that Xbox Game Pass doesn't present a lot of value proposition. It absolutely does. It's just not presenting any value to me right now. So, but I did say, at some point, if it does pick up, and I re-enter the ecosystem, will be on PC. But people, the reaction to this tweet is really weird. Last time I checked, I think there was 136,000 views on this tweet. I need to look this up because I haven't checked since I checked earlier this morning. I think it was at 136,000 views. But a lot of the reaction was really trivial to me because I don't know why we treat gaming differently than we do other consumer products. Like, and I was kind of laughing because I'm like, I should open up a used car lot and sell these people that are upset at my tweet a lemon. Because like if you go out and buy a car, you buy a lemon and you're not happy with it, you're going to get rid of it. You're going to go somewhere else. You're going to take your business elsewhere. And it's just really weird to me that people get upset that you are unhappy with something they enjoy. Like my unhappiness or my, Xbox not living up to my expectations and me saying, you know what, I'm going to cut my losses. I'm going to get some of my money back selling my console. I understand why that would impact anyone's enjoyment of their console purchase. It shouldn't. But the reactions to this were very much that. And it's just weird. It's weird. It's very super tribalistic. And it's really anti-consumer. Like if someone isn't happy with the console that you enjoy, that shouldn't be any issue to you. And you shouldn't shout them down and tell them to shut up and play games and F off, which is actually one of the comments I got. Maybe I shouldn't be, and part of me was surprised by some of the commentary because it really got it really got bad. I mean, people were quote tweeting saying, "Oh, it's no skin off the $1 trillion company's back that you're leaving," but that's not really the point. Like, I'm not sticking around because I think I'm going to have any kind of impact to the $1 trillion company. I'm not sticking around because this particular product isn't meeting my needs as a consumer, and that's what it should be about. It shouldn't be about sticking to your guns or waiting for something to come or waiting for the turnaround of a particular consumer product that you might not be happy with. People shouldn't chastise you for making a decision as a consumer based on your individual use case. That's weird as shit. So that's my quick rant, but I want to open up to the panel. Gabe, I'll open up to you because you saw some of this stuff because I think you had replied to some of the people that were kind of quote tweeting my initial tweet yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know, anything more to add to it than you said. It's just weird that we foist these expectations on things. I mean, and people are just weird about contorting what the point and purpose of social media is, to match a pre-canned narrative. You're just tweeting this to get attention. Why else do you tweet anything? Like, notionally, you tweet things either in response to something somebody else put out, but usually when you tweet things on your own wall, it's to encourage engagement by what you hope would be similarly minded people. Or if somebody picks up on it who has a difference of opinion, you might also be open to that discussion. So the notion that you're always supposed to tweet something that is somehow relevant to somebody that you don't know is really an ignorant thing to kind of come out of your mouth with. And at the end of the day, what I said to a lot of people and what I constantly say on my wall is, it's my Twitter account and it's my wall. It's not up to you to legislate, what I say. And, your desire to gatekeep because I said something positive or negative about a plastic box that you like or don't like, that's a conversation that children have, and I'm not personally on Twitter to have a conversation with children. So it's just weird. And the last thing I'll mention is, look, if you're going to have a difference or a problem with something somebody said, just quite frankly, have the balls to man up and say it directly to them on their wall. Don't do a quote tweet and expect that, and count on that you're just going to slip by and, I or somebody else isn't going to confront you about it because they're not going to, tab into the quote tweet section to see who quote tweeted it. I mean, don't be a hypocrite and call somebody, weak or spineless or something like that when you yourself are grabbing their tweet and quote tweeting it and not mentioning them, and just, skating by on the assumption that they're not going to pick up on it and they're not going to confront you about it. What a bunch of weak sauce.
Yeah, so it's at the tweet's actually at 150,000 views. Let me double
I
check here.
see this because I guess I just was completely I don't know what I was doing today. I didn't see any of this stuff going on. Let me go.
Yeah, I tweeted this yesterday, Slow-Mo, and it's at 150,000 views, man. Like I was just shocked. I'm like, why is this getting so many views? It was so weird. It was so weird. But people were legit angry. People were like, bye, don't come back. I'm like, oh, really? Like, don't come. Like, this is supposed to be a gaming console, a form of entertainment. Like, why are we taking this so seriously? Don't come back? Really?
I always
And then-
like the guys that's just like, if you leave now when things get better, I better not see you trying to get back on the platform. The platform is closed. What?
You can't
So
come back.
They not selling no more Xboxes? But is that what's going? When Enrique goes to GameStop to buy a new Xbox, an Xbox Series M, is the cash register? Is the guy at the register going to be like, oh, whoa? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, you've been blacklisted.
Sorry,
Yeah.
it's closed for you. You
saw
left
that tweet.
Or it got good, therefore it's you can't buy this. Like, no, that's not what happens. So I don't get the idea that like you can't come back.
Oh, and what a dumb, stupid, ignorant, asinine thing to say by a community of people who are in third place in install base.
Oh,
Right? Like this, I don't want to say this is why. That's what I feel like saying. I'm like, look, I just, look, if you're having problems struggling and retaining people in your social circle ecosystem, whatever this thing is, that the Xbox community calls itself, or the gaming console community calls themselves, I like maybe not be an asshole, Maybe that would encourage people to stick around and have a conversation with you about games, instead of diving to some of the ignorance that we saw right in this thread and in my thread right when I posted my similar thing last week.
yeah. Let me get this super chat, $5 super chat from Just Wait. It says, bots getting mad you sold your Xbox is like your girlfriend getting mad you got your STD treated. I don't have to suffer just because you want to. Oh my goodness. Thank you for that super chat. Just Wait. Look, I in my opinion, I think this mentality is why Xbox can continue apologizing for mishaps over and over and over and over again. And nothing seemingly changes. Nothing changes. I mean, I don't understand it. Like, it's, I mean, seriously, hey, Slow-Mo, you gotta, I'll have to send it to you, but you have to see some of the comments. And then when I said, I think.
Shout out to B Money.
Yeah.
Try to tell you not to buy it. You let the kids rope you in.
This is true. B remembers.
Hey, I tried to tell him, hey, right before the generation
I'm
started,
liking that one. That was good. Yeah, go ahead. That's good.
we had all upgraded the PCs. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You ran out and bought another PC. Like a year after you had just bought your PC, you went out and bought another one. Usually, like, yo, I need to upgrade. I'm like, all right, so I mean, Game Pass is on the PC. Like, why are you getting an Xbox? You're like, oh, the kids want it. The kids want
He
it.
always,
Nah.
I tell you, he always throws the kids under the bus every time.
It don't make sense, man. If you got the PC, it's way more powerful than what your Xbox is gonna be. There's no reason for you to own it, in my opinion. That's why I didn't cop a new Xbox. I upgraded my PC. There's no reason for me to own it. I can still talk to all my friends on the Xbox. Most of the games are cross-platform play.
Except for Crossfire X, bro. You missing out.
Oh yeah,
That's Slow-Mo's
man.
Slow-Mo's favorite shooter.
I'm so disappointed.
Bringing up all the bad memories, bro.
I remember Slow-Mo play that was like miserable. You streaming that, I remember that. But even Nate says, I told you to get the PC and stick to it. A lot of people did. And it's funny. And so what I also said was, I said, look, I think that PC is the best place to experience Xbox right now. And of course, you know what happened there, Slow-Mo. You know, the old, well, some guy gave me an asterisk, if you can afford it. That's not the point.
Well,
The point is, I think
we ain't a bunch of brokies over here, mad because you can't get, a performance mode. People. Let me not get started.
No, go ahead, Slowpoke. I want to hear what you have to say, good sir.
I'm just saying, like, some people can afford to have multiple platforms if they so choose to, and I find it funny that, like, a lot of the same guys that be like, oh, if you can afford the experience, be the same dudes be showing the box just left Best Buy. They in the car taking pictures of it in their trunk of a C1 they spent $2,000 on. It's just like, so you spent a lot of money on the premium OLED, right? Because you wanted the premium experience, right? Right. So what's the difference when buying a gaming PC if you want a premium?
I mean, how many people did we see, like you said, go out and buy those C1s? They're like $2,000.
Yeah, and then to couple it with some. Yes, I'm about to get slanderous. Trash console. Okay.
And then they throw in a bunch of controllers. The blue, the green, the black, the red.
Got colors for every rainbow. I'm just like, look, if you gonna get a C1, man, put a nice PC with that, so you can really see that thing sing. Let me put no blurry Nintendo Switch on there. Some compromised Xbox Series X or PS5, man. Whatever. Get that PC in there. But look, whatever. Y'all do you. Just don't be pocket watching everybody else. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, one guy told me maybe you'll stop whining about Xbox all the time now. It was actually one of my favorite responses.
Funny.
Well, I that's the foolishness that I don't understand. It's like, if you enjoying your experience, then cool, enjoy your experience. If someone is voicing that they aren't enjoying their experience or have a reason to not be enjoying it, why are you trying to force your enjoyment on them? They aren't enjoying the platform. They want to move on. That is totally fine. If you having a great time, enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like, enjoy all the games in Game Pass, and enjoy all the new features, the new dashboard, all that. Have a great time. But if somebody is voicing a different opinion, why is it such an offense to you that you got to go get all your friends and, jump on a tweet and poke fun and try to laugh and make fun of somebody? Like, it's foolishness, man. If you enjoy it, have a great time. See you later. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, Enrique is not getting what he wanted from the platform. That's the bottom line. He's not getting what he wanted. If you are getting what you want, great. Have a good time. Play all the games. Play with all your friends. Buy all the controllers and all the other nonsense that you want that fills your joy.
Yeah. No, exactly. I mean,
for having a different opinion. That's just stupid.
Yeah. And the other one is like Froggy T, right? I know what he said. He said, what about if someone's whole brand is complaining about a specific experience? I don't know if that's directed at the show here. I'm assuming it is Froggy T, right? But look, as a consumer, you have a right to voice your displeasure of a product. I don't understand this ride or die mentality with the consumer product. I mean, like, do you do that with other consumer products? Do you go out and buy like a bad car and just say, you know what? Yeah, I bought this piece of shit lemon, but I'm gonna hold out because I love Honda.
Yo, it just took me this long to get down to the to all the replies. Now I'm about to look at the quote retweets. I want to know who started this, because clearly, like, there had to been a particular influencer that retweeted this or quote retweeted this first, and then all their followers jumped on it. So let me scroll to the okay. Go ahead, continue.
By the way, this is why Deli doesn't follow me on Twitter.
I was literally gonna say like it. I mean, it makes its way to my timeline regardless because the Twitter for you page is just so amazing. But I mean, it is what it is. It's just because I end up scrolling through and reading it, and then I get a headache, and then I'm like, you know who gave me this headache? BRAP gave me this headache.
Deli told me, he's like, sorry, Brap, I don't follow you. It's all good, Deli. At least you come on the show, talk video games with us.
And one of the things about Froggy T Wright's response is, look, facts just need to be sprinkled on this conversation, right? I understand what Froggy's saying. He's, there are personalities out there that, right, monetize in whatever, on a thematic approach of either, shit talking one plastic box or raising up another plastic box based on misinformation, disinformation, and a bunch of mess, right? It's approached, through both vectors by people in both camps. But the thing that I think that has to be separated, in particular, like what we do on this show and what some of us do on our Twitter accounts, whether you agree with it or not, whether you have brand loyalty or not, there are quantifiable, objective, evidentiary facts that the Xbox performance this generation, which quite honestly is an extension from last generation, has not been positive. It's not like we comment on stuff that we make up. They were outsold 2-1 last generation. They have a limited number of releases. I think one of the most frustrating things is, going back to, the Spencer interview and stuff, people who are intensely brand loyal to Xbox, like, will get angry about things that are said. And one of the tweets that I put out last week, one of the things I said is, this isn't me saying these things. These are Spencer's own words. One of the most frustrating things is, I said, before he did that interview, Xbox has not delivered on the 12-month plan. I'm frustrated because Sarah got out on stage, she was pushed out on stage, right, and said 3 times, 12 months, 12 months, 12 months. And the Xbox community told me, oh, no, you're wrong, you're being overly demanding. Look at the, I was literally told, look at the small print on the slide. I was like, okay, here's a person acting as a spokesperson for the brand who said one thing, and you're telling me ignore that, but look at the small print on the slide. And then Spencer comes on his interview and tells Paris, no, there doesn't need to be any caveat of not necessarily, we didn't deliver on the 12-month plan. The man got up on the interview and said, we didn't deliver on the 12-month plan, being not transparent about the state of Redfall and the performance expectations was a self-inflicted wound. His own words. We need to work on our internal processes. Again, his own words, which by definition means, whether you like it or not, in 6 years of doing acquisitions, they have insufficient processes in place to prevent something like Redfall happening. Now, you can choose whether or not you extrapolate that to be a major impact or a big concern. Again, my personal realm of software engineering and software development is oriented around quality assurances, testing, systems engineering, right? So to me, that's a big deal, right? If you have numerous lessons learned, right? And again, these are things that you can say that you don't like them or don't agree with them, that's fine, but you can't argue that they're not facts. Halo Infinite was problematic in its launch and has been problematic in its term as a game as a service since it dropped. Forza Motorsport, based on the historical release cadence of Turn 10 and Playground Studios, should have been present at the beginning of the launch if they had stuck with their normal cadence. Coming up with COVID-19, Spencer again said in an interview in October 2022, if we talk about COVID, that is an excuse. His words, not mine. So it's not as if BRAP deciding to sell his Xbox, get off Game Pass, me deciding to sell mine, get off Game Pass, is some wackadoodle thing that we made up. There has been a factual, evidentiary trend of misses that have been going on since last generation, and that's why we made the choice. It's not just because of Redfall. and we're overreacting to it, it's not just because of the interview and we're overreacting to it. It's because there are things that have happened that, in Spencer's own admission, are things that his team should be doing better. So until they figure that out, right, our stance is that we'll be out, right, and we'll come back once they figure those things out and they get back to a point where they're performing, right, at a point where our expectations are met based on, the return on investment that we want to get out of our money.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of the concerns that I voiced and complaints that I've had were confirmed in that interview. They were confirmed. So I don't, so but again, the point for me is that the people being angry and the backlash is ridiculous. Because again, I don't know why some people treat video games or gaming consoles differently than other consumer products, or think that people behave differently. And with video game consoles than they do other consumer products. I mean, this idea of, leaving or moving on from a consumer product because the consumer doesn't feel like they're getting their money's worth isn't a new concept. It's not foreign. And it applies to gaming too. And I don't understand why people think it doesn't. It's very odd. But like I said, I mean, like if Microsoft starts knocking it out of the park, like B Money suggested, I'll be here on PC. I'll Microsoft will just be as happy with me being in the ecosystem on PC as well. I'm not going to go out and buy another console. I'll just be on PC, enjoy my 3070, my Intel CPU, which was a great decision, by the way, Slow-Mo. I'm glad I went the Intel route, by the way.
Why are you giving Slow-Mo credit for that? I was the one who gave you counsel on what CPU to go with.
Don't do that. He was okay. You can give me credit.
That's right.
Okay, so here's real quick, man. Here's the other thing too. Here's what other people were accusing. Like if Froggy T Right, you're doing it. Like it's pretty silly to act like you didn't know. Like, no, actually, I didn't know because I thought people would be adults.
Yeah, it happens. It literally happens. You can never predict when you're going to be the main character of Twitter. One day you're going to tweet something, and then next day you wake up and then there's 65,000 likes on it. And you're like, hey, yo, what just happened?
Yeah, I mean, but like Froggy, for you to be like, it's pretty silly to act like you didn't. Like really, so it's pretty. No, it's not that it's my first day on Twitter, but like I have never seen responses like that. Like over console war stuff, I've seen stuff, but not over someone being like, hey, you know what? I'm selling. I mean, I've posted other things on Twitter where like, hey, I'm selling my so-and-so. I'm getting rid of something, or I'm getting rid of my Vizio TV. I'm upgrading to an LG, or I'm getting rid of, I'm upgrading my GPU. I mean, like it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, my expectation is that people would act about adults about it and not respond with ridiculous responses. Like I think someone posted a meme of an airport or something, or an airplane, or I don't know.
People say every day, all the time on Twitter, that they're leaving one phone ecosystem or the other.
Yeah,
that they're
Froggy
leaving Android and going to iPhone.
Froggy T, right? A TV or GPU is not a totally different ballgame. I got rid of Vizio. I'd never go back to Vizio. It's not a good TV. I tweeted that out. The behavior's still the same. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
A TV or GPU is not a different ball game. It's just less important to you, Froggy, because like they're in the PC community. If there's someone who's been like hardline AMD and they see they're buying a 4090, best believe a lot of people who see their content and see them always say potentially, saying, well, I don't like NVIDIA. I think NVIDIA is overpriced. And then they go buy a overpriced GPU. People are going to go after them. It's just whatever. It's just like you can't just say you just that no one cares about that kind of stuff. No one cares about those products. It's just that no one that cares about those products. And I'm not just saying like Enrique is going against anything that he said previously. I'm just saying that like if someone has an opinion and other people see them mentioning it, there's a community of people where they're going to make a big deal about it, regardless of whether you know that or not. So, yeah.
Yeah, and Froggy,
It's not different because there's fanboys for everything.
Yep.
Right, because
You know
I
what I mean?
absolutely hate Intel.
oh, Deli.
I cannot stand them ever since 2017. I think I was like, I'm not buying another Intel CPU. So I've just been buying AMD CPUs
Yeah.
since then. And Intel still, to my knowledge, still has not fixed the like 120 security issues on their Intel chips, and nobody has said a single damn thing about it. So no, I refuse to buy an Intel chip because I don't want
You
my
mad.
passwords hacked and stuff, because they don't want to have basic bare minimum requirement security issues in their CPUs that they've just been rolling from generation to generation for 6 years now. I bought an AMD. I bought an AMD CPU, and the 48 security issues were fixed within the week.
Yeah, Froggy T, right? No, I'm not playing dumb. I mean, it's not dumb to expect adults to act like adults. That's not dumb. I don't know why you think that, and yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and again, if even if there's a suspicion that people are going to be bad actors and react to something badly, right? Is that a reason to not tweet it? Like, do you, this isn't. It's not like selling an Xbox is supposed to be some like politically like lightning rod charging discussion topic. It's not like it's him being prejudiced or bigoted against a given subsection of society, but that's certainly the like Great Scott, like I need to compare your tweet. I need to compare your tweet to like the Tucker Carlson announcement, like that's not fair. Like, and I know people are going to say that's a whataboutism, right? But my point is like, again, like it shouldn't. It's kind of unreasonable that it got that level of reaction, not necessarily by popularity, but also just in terms of how emotional people were over it.
Yeah, like people were very Carl Thomas about it. Like it was really bad. And
Carl Thomas, yeah.
Carl Thomas, LOL. They did jump on your ass, BRAP, quick. Like,
they did, yeah. It was
very defensively,
but
which
like
is kind of crazy.
Let go.
It is crazy. That's the point. Like it's crazy. Like like people got more upset at me tweeting that they did certain members of their community making homophobic comments about video games. Remember that? Remember those comments that we saw from I'm not going to name the person who's clearly catfishing. But like that stuff, I mean, like that's the kind of stuff that should really get people up in arms. Not someone saying, "Hey, you know what? I'm selling, I'm getting rid of this particular product that I own because I'm not happy with it." So,
yeah, it was kind of wild to see everybody jump immediately to the defense, right? As if the product is, I don't know, bad or anything like that. You're not getting what you wanted out of it. So instead of hoarding it, you're getting rid of it. And everybody was like, no, you're wrong for that, BRAP. It needs to collect dust in your house.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, what's bad? Right, you want to get on, the things people should be supportive of, right? Is this planet makes a lot of electronic stuff.
Can I want to just say something. So Froggy T, right? I don't perhaps you're a little slow. Maybe you didn't have your coffee today, or I don't know, maybe you're just slow in general, but like there's a difference between console warring and like saying that, hey, you know what, this particular product isn't meeting my needs as a consumer. That's not console warring. I don't know how you don't understand the difference. I don't know what to tell you, man. Go ahead, Logic.
No, and I don't understand. Like, don't you complain daily on Twitter about people acting like children over console war BS? I mean, I complain daily about it because it happens. When it starts happening less, then I'll stop complaining about it. Like, I don't understand what happening.
But
I mean.
But that has nothing to do with just saying that again,
you're selling your Xbox,
you're saying you're selling your Xbox or your PlayStation isn't console warring either. You know, I mean, so yeah. Anyhow, go ahead. Yeah.
I mean, the people like look. There are people who say I'm selling my shit box, right? Xbox has no games, right? There are people who say like denigrating, insulting stuff that's definitely meant to get a rise out of somebody, but but simply saying, hey, I'm putting a thing down, I'm getting rid of it, I'm moving out of that ecosystem. Again, people say this all the time. People say that they're leaving Windows and going Mac, and that they're never buying a Windows PC again. People say that I'm leaving iPhone and I'm going to Android, or going to Android and leaving iPhone, right? All the time. People do say, like, a lot of the accusations that oh, well, when people cancel their Netflix subscriptions, no, when people cancel subscriptions, they do often say on Twitter, great Scott, people post pictures of food on Twitter. Why are we upset about somebody saying
there was an entire hashtag about canceling Netflix? I can't, and I think it was in response to, I don't know, that's like a hashtag
account sharing. Them taking away account sharing
all the time. Say again?
Them taking away account sharing.
Yeah, there was that. There was a show that they canceled or something. I can't remember. I feel like people have over the past year, people have had trending hashtags to cancel Netflix like at least 3 or 4 times. But whatever. I do have to go. It's getting not necessarily getting late for me, but I gotta get up early in the morning. But shout out to you, good fellas. Hope you guys have a great night. Hope that everybody in the chat continues to enjoy the show, whether you're triggered by Enrique's tweet or not. And then peace out, y'all.
All right, Slobo. Hey, Slobo. Oh, Gregor Von Doom had something. I forget. Never mind. All right, Slobo. No, I thought Gregor Von Doom had said. He said, remember when calling it X-Bone was offensive for some reason? I do remember that, actually.
That was?
Yeah, people got upset when you said X-Bone.
People were mad about that.
Remember that, B?
Yeah, they're real mad about that.
Oh man, they just upset because they couldn't get an X-Bone. That's all.
Oh, okay, all right.
I'm out. Y'all have a good one.
All right, you too, Slomo.
See you, bro.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyhow, that's all I got to say about that particular tweet. Anyhow. Oh my gosh, the Expo thing, man. I completely forgot about that till Gregor Von Doom brought it up. Man, B, that's crazy. People were really upset about that. Don't call it that. Oh my God, I remember that. Oh, I remember that. Oh my goodness. All right. Anyhow, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up the show. Want to thank everyone in the live chat for hanging out this evening. Really appreciate it. Do me a favor, smash that like button if you haven't done so already. If you're new to the show, subscribe, hit the bell notifications so you're alerted when we go live. Let's see here. Axe of Eugene says, BRAP, would you have sold your Xbox if you could have easily transferred most of your library to PC? Yeah, I would have sold it anyway. I would have sold my Xbox anyway. I want to also give a big shout out and thank you to our guest this evening, Agent Deli. Deli, hey, it's okay you won't follow me on Twitter, but I do appreciate you coming on BRAP and talking video games with us, man. Thank you.
No, I have no problem interacting with you. I enjoy it, and I love being here on BRAP, and I love talking games, and I just love hanging out with you fine gentlemen. Much smarter, much cooler than me, BRAP, Logic, and of course B Money and Mo as well too. It's
yeah,
just, the console war stuff is it's lame, and I don't feel like being in a bad mood and complaining all day. So I just don't. That's all.
No, and I want to say one thing, Deli. I really do appreciate your insight on the whole Bloodborne thing because I never even thought about that. Because a lot of us thought, just flip the switch, 60 FPS, it's good. So I appreciate that insight. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem at all. I think that's. I just really love talking about games, the games industry, and games history, all that kind of stuff. I love talking about all this stuff because I think that's what the hobby should be like, right? Like we should talk about these games, right? Like we should go back and say like, hey, like this history happened, like this happened, 10 years from now or whatever, we're going to look back and be like, Redfall launched terribly, blah, 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 this and that. And let's see how that compares to, Microsoft and Xbox currently, in the future or whatever. I think that's a very important conversation to have. And I think it's very informative conversation to have. So it's always super fun to be able to have that conversation here in a nice, what I would what's it called? What I would call like a neutral zone, and especially having Game Logic here and his absolutely fantastic expertise to be able to kind of go back and forth with and try to kind of take every angle on any debate or any conversation. So it's kind of refreshing to just be here, and that's why I like being on here.
Yeah, no, thank you, man. I appreciate it as always, Deli. Also want to give a big shout out to Slomo, who had to go to bed. He has DPS tomorrow night. I don't know whose channel it's going to be on, but yeah,
should be on his. Last week we were on Forte's waiting for.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, so it's probably going to be on Slomo Backslaps channel on YouTube. DPS tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So, B Money, hey man, thank you for joining. Always a pleasure, man. Appreciate the insight. Hopefully we get a showcase soon, man.
Yeah. It's always great to be here. You know what I mean? I try to make it as often as I can. I heard you guys talking about the topic, so I figured I should try to jump in here while I could. But yeah, man, it's looking forward to what PlayStation has coming. There's definitely a lot of things cooking up. I know a lot of people are kind of tired of the continued sequels of some of their established franchises, and people should be excited because there's a lot of new IPs coming over the next few years. So if you're tired of the third person over the shoulder, sad dad journey games, there's going to be other stuff to play. There's definitely going to be more of a variety of things to check out. So definitely look forward to that, and see you boys next week.
All right, B Money, appreciate it again, and Game Logic, always a pleasure, sir. Thank you again, and I don't know if you want to be found, Game Logic, but if you do, let everyone know where they can find you. You do a weekly podcast as well.
Yeah, nope, I don't want to be found. But I am what I've been doing in the background, and why I didn't engage Deli and Slomo head on when I disagreed about the Deli about the performance impact on reviews. I'm really fiending for the Pixel Fold and Pixel Tablet, and the free Pixel Watch that you get if you buy the Pixel Fold.
So I mean, you better get a free dishwasher as well too. That's like $17.99.
It is expensive.
Is it a free dishwasher?
you better get something out of it.
I have expensive tastes when it comes to phones.
I respect it.
So I was fiddling here in the back. I had it in my cart and I almost pushed go, but I backpedaled off of it. I also want to see. Also, don't forget the Asus Republic of Gamers Ally is being shown tomorrow at 11 a.m. I can't remember if
that's right. Yeah.
I hope
Eastern.
it has good battery life. Oh my god! If it has better
That's
battery life,
that's
than
my
the
only
Steam
concern.
Deck, it's about to go crazy.
Yeah, that's my only concern. If it's got good battery life, I'm jumping on it.
It's I'm sorry. So it's May. It is tomorrow. Now I'm not seeing what time the reveal is. This may be a thing where they're gonna just post a pre-recorded video. I would hope that they would that hopefully pre-orders will get triggered in the U.S. That's through Best Buy. But there it is. May 11th at 10 a.m. is when the reveal is. So.
I tell you what, tomorrow's gonna be a great day for gaming, man. We got that reveal. We got Tears of the Kingdom reviews coming out. Should be
maybe a good day for Xbox tomorrow, right? Can't remember what her name is now. I can't. But the head of Xbox hardware is going to be part of the presentation. So, maybe there'll be some.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Partnering Game
cool.
Pass news or something like that. So,
yeah.
You guys who are concerned about people mentioning that they sell Xboxes somehow damaging the brand's reputation, hopefully you'll tune into the Asus Republic of Gamers Ally presentation tomorrow and be on Twitter repping the brand.
Oh my goodness, man. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that tomorrow as well. But look, everyone in the live chat, thank you so much for hanging out with us again this evening. Really appreciate it. Again, smash that like button. If you're new, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you're alerted when we go live. And if you want to give me a follow on the Twitters, you can at BRAP_podcast. So I don't know, I'll probably do another rant at some point this week. But we'll definitely be back next Wednesday discussing some Tears of the Kingdom as that drops Friday. But everyone, enjoy the rest of the week. Have fun playing video games because that's ultimately what it's all about, having fun. We'll catch you next time.